that's pretty much how it starts, isn't it, Kenny?
Yeah, and then we just go
split it up, let it dry real good.
Starting with the sides, bending the sides, and and carving the back. And I don't use any CNC machines or anything, so I make it all by hand. I do use power tools, but only the ones that I can manipulate. For some reason, it just don't seem right to put a piece of wood in a computerized machine and then push some buttons and then go off and have a cup of coffee or something and come back 20 minutes later and have it, finished. I feel like you lose a little bit of the intuition. You need to use your intuition on a piece of wood, how it sounds, how it feels, the feeling that you get from it, while you're working with it. And if you use a CNC machine, you don't get that. You're lost from it.
They're all different. Nothing the same.
Luthiers get feelings, that comes to you, intuitive feelings that you need to act upon.
So in other words, you have to adapt to things sort of on the fly as you're working and building that instrument. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying, yeah, because you get feelings that comes across you that this piece of wood might, need to do something a little bit different. So
some wood's softer than other wood. Some of the grain is different, so it makes you want, you have to leave some of them a little thicker, right, Kenny?
Right, if it's real soft wood, you need to adjust your graduations, accordingly, and have them maybe a little thicker in certain places. But if it's real hardwood, you might want to make it a little bit thinner. The whole time, you're tapping and trying to figure out what's going on with it. And if you've got a machine doing that, you're disconnected.
Mm. From start to finish, as you're making an instrument, how long does it take?
Oh, well, I used to work like 16, 18 hours a day, so I don't do that now, but it'd still take about 2 weeks, or just to get, the mandolin under construction where you play it. That's without the finish. And then it takes another 2 weeks or so for the finish.
So as you have these things and you're looking at the finished product, I guess you're still adjusting things as you're going through that, right?
Yeah. The finish work is what we spend a lot of time on. We started a few years back making them look old, giving them a vintage, aged distressed look. There are so many new violins on the market to have this plastic shiny look that we decided we wanted our instruments to look like the old instruments. In fact, the old violin makers used to do that. They did that then.
They did.
They shaded the varnish and made light and dark places and little variations in the finish and texture and little marks and things to give them some character.
Nobody wanted a shiny instrument back then either. They
No.
wanted them to look like they had some character to them.
What about you, Raymond? I know you play. What do you like?
Well, yeah, there are a lot of things that an instrument, it comes to be so personal, and even as you play it and as you live with an instrument, it takes on, you learn the instrument and it kind of learns you a little bit too. The finish on a neck, for example, there are a lot of people that might even take steel wool and take some of the finish off a neck if you've got a new instrument, it's shiny. Even if the luthier doesn't do it, you might take some steel wool and make that neck easier to play, or feel a little better. I'm very fortunate to play a banjo that Frank Neat built, and those necks, I don't know what it is about those necks, but he's a musician. He's like the Ratcliffs, he's a musician too, and he knows how an instrument should feel.
So, do you get orders, custom orders, and they say, I want this in this instrument, and I'd like to do this with it, maybe put this kind of finish on it, or perhaps this kind of inlay into it?
All the time,
Some people want a lot of carving and extra things done, and some people just want a plain instrument.
Most people just want something that's plain. Not with like the talked about earlier, the paintings and stuff. Most people just like the traditional look. But we do make a distressed look, because most people want
Most,
that.
most people want them to look old, even though they're new instruments, they don't wanna,
It's not for everybody.
I'll tell you about that distressed look. I saw it on my mother's face one day when she brought a trombone home for me to try to play. I saw that the entire weekend until it went back to the instrument place on Monday, as a matter of fact. It was an extremely distressed
You
look.
get that same look with a fiddle player.
Well, we've got just 2 minutes left on the program here for today, but truly for you guys, you know, and talking to you about this, working with these instruments is really a labor of love, isn't it?
oh,
Yeah, I love doing what I do. I feel very blessed and very fortunate to be able to do what I do. I couldn't have hoped or asked for a better profession.
And Dad and myself, we've got a little shop out by his house, and we get out there and work and let the world go by, and we really enjoy getting out there with each other, and we seem like we learn something new every day.
He'll be 88 pretty soon.
He'll be 88 in October.
I'll be 88.
Now, you're pretty spry. I
He's
just
still-
want you to know that.
still
Right,
there.
you think?
Yes. But it probably keeps you young to be able to do this
Well,
kind of
it
stuff on a
helps
daily
to
basis.
do things that you like,
Yeah.
you know, work that you like.
And he learned all this stuff through the years with trial and error, and he gave it all to me, so that's pretty
I
special.
didn't have any
Saved me a
form
lot of trial and error,
learning
because he
on
did
this.
it all,
Just trial and error, you know.
and that's, you learn what
Find out
sounds
what
good.
works and what don't work. And you use
find
it.
out about with thicknesses in your top plate and the bottom. You have to know what they are, and you also have to realize the wood. The wood has got different characteristics. Each piece of wood has is different. So you have to be able to tap it and tell where to take off and so forth and so on.
So it's almost like, in a way, it's almost like playing it before you actually play.
Yeah, you have to be able to.
And he drew out patterns and things for all this stuff over the years.
I drew patterns
So
out.
now we've got those patterns that we can use right on and on
It
and
helps to
on.
write down all the things that you do as you go.
And then I keep a book as I'm
I do
making,
too.
and I keep a book of what I've done to each instrument, so I can know what's
If you
good
did
and
something
what's
right,
not
then you
good.
can look back and see what it was.
That's probably why I don't write many things
You
down.
can't remember all of it unless you do that.
No, it's awful complicated.
Well, we're out of time. I want to thank everyone for being here today, and I'm glad I didn't have to make coffee and donuts for all you guys, because I don't know if I could have done it. But we're glad you're here, and again, we'll tell folks that the exhibition is called Made to be Played: Traditional Art of Kentucky Luthiers. The opening reception tonight from 6 to 8 at the Kentucky Center for Traditional Music. Lecturing and playing tonight will be Master Luthiers Buddy Steve and Kenny Ratcliff, and this display will be on hand at the Center for Traditional Music through July the 28th, and both the reception and exhibit are free and open to the public. I'm your host, Chuck Mraz. Thanks for joining us today on the front page.